Dominaria United might as well be out there available for sale because the pre-sale orders are so high that they're taking over the Hot 10 this week. Let's take a look and find out who comes out at number 1. Hi everyone and welcome back. MTG Moxman here. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me for the Saturday Hot 10. Guys, it is amazing to see how popular some sets become even before release. Dominaria United started out with people not enjoying it, not looking forward to it, thinking it's just a blowout. But let's face it, as people took a look at this set and broke down the amazing cards held within, players' opinions and attitudes started to shift, started to change. I mean, it was coming on the heels of Double Masters 2022, which was a phenomenal set. So it's really interesting this week to see how many cards get thrown right off the list to make room for Dominaria United. That's right, this set is united together in its agenda to become number 1, to take over the Hot 10. But how long can these kind of sales numbers keep up? We're only a week away from pre-release. We're less than 2 weeks away from the actual release date. We're going to see box openings happening before you know it. I think basically every card's spoiled now. This stuff is amazing. I'm so happy to have been here on YouTube to share this experience with you guys. I mean, yeah, I didn't get any thralls, which kind of throws me off a bit. But you know what? There's always next time. There's always another set that could contain them. Every time we go back to Dominaria, I get this excited. Let's get down to it. Let's start at number 10. We're going to end at number 1 because this is your Hot 10. Let's get to it. Starting out at number 10 this week is Symmetry Dragon Master. Now, 683 sales just out of the blue is a pretty good tall order already here on the Hot 10. Now, this is from Commander, from Dominaria United. Symmetry kind of reminds me of the Planeswalkers we kind of saw in War of the Spark. When I think of War of the Spark, guys, you start thinking of Narset and some of these mid-range, okay Planeswalkers they had out there. And to me, Symmetry is definitely of that kind of balance. Right away, you can get the +1 where any creature attacking you or a planeswalker you control's got to pay the additional 2. You can get the -3, go looking for an awesome dragon card. Or you can just, at the end have a massive explosion that blows up all non-dragons. Now, in a 5-color dragon deck, again, that whole theme of wizards combining in dragons, this planeswalker is definitely going to fit into that ilk of a dragon planeswalker type style deck where you can have cards like this guarding away and picking off the individual dragons you need to get to ultimate payoff abilities. I think it's going to be a great card. It's going to see a lot of play, far above what I expected, but it just has that right balance of a decent low casting cost planeswalker. 4 is not a big deal in a commander deck, but also its abilities blend well with a concentrated dragon deck. So I think it's going to play out very well for players who want to play with that card. Awesome. Number 10 this week, right there out of Dominaria United. Now, number 9, Carn the Living Legacy. I am not fond of Carn in this iteration we've seen, okay? $16 to $20 card right now, 927 sales is pretty high. But I look at a 4 casting cost Carn. That's fine. It goes with Carn Sign of Urza, Carn the Great Creator. It kind of finds what we've been balancing out the last couple of years. But I find those other Carns they're just better, okay? Carn Living Legacy, he creates a little power stone at +1, but he doesn't protect himself. He can start getting beat on right away, and with so many ways of getting rid of planeswalkers, you need something to make him kind of stick around on the board. His minus power there to go like looking at the top cards of your library and stuff, that's not horrible. His emblem power, if he stays around long enough, can be a very powerful ability to have around, but there's so many ways of getting rid of him before it gets to that I just don't see him being much of a threat. Time will tell. I could play this off wrong, but I just think the other Carns we've seen before, like think about how he came out as Carn Liberated, and like that's a beastie version of Carn, and I found Carn kind of weak in this story a little bit, and they make him a weaker card. I mean, the artwork looks awesome, but he's not what I consider to be a powerhouse planeswalker at mythic level. I'm kind of meh about him, but we never know where it's going to connect up later on with the other sets coming out in this full cycle of what's going to happen on Phyrexia. So for now, it's great. People are enjoying the card, but let's see how it plays out in standard and other formats. Now, number 8 this week Sheoldred the Apocalypse definitely deserves to be on this list. I mean, if any card I was expecting to see here, this was the one. 1,080 sales, so it's definitely not the highest card on the list at number 8. The average price there is 38 bucks. I expected this card to be around 40, so that's not bad. I know it's pre-sale at my place, it was $25, so I thought that was kind of like the right price. But I expected it to be as high as 40, so here we are at 40 bucks. You know, it makes decent sense. A forecasting cost 4 or 5 with Death Touch. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. Think about that in Commander. Think about the homes this is going to find. Wizards did an excellent job making this kind of a beautiful, kind of very well balanced, powerful card. It's powerful. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say it any other way. It is a powerful card, but it does seem balanced in the way Planeswalkers can be dealt with pretty easily nowadays. Creatures can be dealt with pretty easily nowadays. Enchantments can be a little iffy still, depending on what kind of deck you're playing. But this card, if you're not prepared for it, it's your own fault. It's going to be there just like a Planeswalker. It's going to be around. Pay attention to it. It won't be much of a threat to you. And if you see it hit the board, get rid of it instantly. Way to go, Sheoldred. You're here, man. The Phyrexians are attacking. Now, Braids, Arisen Nightmare Showcase. This is just I didn't expect this to happen, okay? 1,320 sales. I knew this card had sold a lot locally right now. I knew a few LGS had asked me questions about it, but when I started getting further and further into it, yes, there was a lot of pre-sales on this card. It is selling well. People are excited for it. The artwork is epic on this card. I do love it. I mean, that's why I chose it as the background that you guys are seeing today on the main screen. So yeah, I can see why it's here. It's going to see a lot of play. It's a great card. Very, just awesome. All right, let me skip on this one. I mean, there's other versions of this card, I believe, right? There's at least one other version I remember seeing, kind of creepy looking art. So yeah, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Oh my goodness, Timeless Lotus. Don't get me started, guys. I don't want this card on the list. I'm biased against it. It's not a Lotus to me. There are far better things like Gilded Lotus and other cards that do a better job. So let's break this card down. Almost 30 bucks seems very expensive. 1,648 sales. That's a lot of people buying this card though. It is a 5 casting cost. It comes into play tap, but it does tap for Werberg or whatever you guys call it, all 5 colors. It taps for all 5. That's great. Now, when I look at the other cards that are out there right now in this set in particular that you need 5 mana for, the pain lands are going to do damage to you. That makes sense, okay? They're going to hurt you. But they do tap for colorless for free, so maybe people are going to use that to get this card out so they can start casting 5 colored creatures and stuff. That could happen inside of Standard. I've kind of thought about that. But when I look at this as an eternal card for later on, yeah, there's ways, like I guess, of sneaking this card onto the battlefield, but it still comes into play tapped, unless you have something that makes, you know, things come into play untapped, like an amulet. But it seems like you have to have a lot of chain reaction events go off to make this card work for you. And I just think there were better ways of doing it, and even like an off-centered kind of way where they could have played this card up so much. But that said, I do love the art. I really like the art on the card for some reason. It just seems to grab me, like a whole new age is about to start, and it feels like a refreshing piece of artwork. So I love the art. I told people that right away. But the actual card mechanic itself, I'm not happy with it. It doesn't tap for 3 mana of one type, which I think it should. They should have named it something else. I don't know. This is just not the card for me. But hey, people like the card, so I'm wrong because people like it. It's just my personal opinion. Okay, Keldon Flame Sage, extended art. 1,796 sales. I knew people were buying this card. It came off a couple times to me through various people on my Discord, emails, LGS's, actual sales figures. Sorry, pardon me. I need to wet the whistle a little bit here. And I look at that and I say, it deserves to be here. Okay, this is a strong card. Building up that card's power level and letting you go search for all kinds of crazy, amazing sorceries and stuff in instance. This thing's going to be fun to play with, okay? It's going to be a decent card. I look at things like Snapcaster Mage and that, you get a card too, but this is just on another level to me when I look at it. So will it go higher though? I don't know. It depends if people can really break this card down and make it just so powerful on the field of battle, assuming you can stay alive, you can build it up, that it must be dealt with. If it gets to that point, then this card's price is going to shoot through the roof, and there's not much stopping it as long as somebody can find a way to really abuse that power level. Now, an offer you can't refuse. Streets of New Kapena still hanging in there. 1,804 sales. This card has gone up a little bit in value. We've talked about this, right? This is just like Deadly Dispute from D&D. Not enough was opened, and that's caused a little bit of constriction on the market. And you know, when there's constriction on the market and a low supply, the price is going to go up. Supply and demand. Okay, this thing's going to keep going up unless more gets opened. Wizards will probably take an opportunity to print this somewhere else as quickly as they can, just like they did with the AFR version, putting it right into Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. I think that was an automatic slip-in when they saw that there were so few open and the price was hanging so high for a common. This is an uncommon, so it's a little more risky to get, but it's a single casting. This thing's amazing. Okay, it's an auto include in so many decks I'm seeing right now. Even in modern games, I see this as a card people are putting in. So yeah, this is a decent card, and it should be here. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing actually goes up to $5, guys. So if you don't have a playset, I would deal with that. I got my 4, so I was happy. Now the number 3 card this week, Ancient Ziggurat, Conflux, 1980 sales. I was a little surprised to see this card here, but then you start realizing that people building decks and have creatures, you know, this thing gives you any color of mana you need for a creature deck. It kind of makes sense that a card like this might be being bought out because it's less than $5. It hasn't had massive reprintings. Yeah, people are just kind of noticing that, you know, it's been dipping in price. So why not take advantage of the fact it's so cheap right now? That makes sense to me. You can use this thing in sliver decks. You can use it all over the place. You can use it, you can use it in my Thrall Kobold decks, you know? I mean, you can use this thing in a lot of different ways. A lot of creature decks, that will make this card function well with all the amazing new heroes we get, with all these multicolored legendary heroes. Cards like Ziggurat are doing a really good job filling that mana void left by other mana bases, and it's an uncommon, so it's not that hard to get right now, and it's not that expensive. If Wizards doesn't, well, actually Wizards probably is paying attention. You know, I'm going to change my phrase here. Wizards probably knows that this card is seeing a lot of play. They may allow it to shift upward to a rare slot. They may do something with this card and let it drift up a bit, just to see how high the value goes as players are buying it out. Because I've seen way too many purchases lately to make me think. Like 1,980 sales, guys, that's thousands of dollars. That's a big chunk of change for a card that was printed, you know, a couple times, but not that much. It's been mystery boosters, and I think there's a couple others, right? Now, the number 2 card this week, this was here last week, and this is Malachar Rebirth. This is Zendikar Rising. 2,300 sales. You can't go wrong. But I think what we're seeing with this particular card is the fact you can use it as a land later on if you need to, but it's the ability that, yeah, I can, you know, cast this and bring a creature back if it dies. That's amazing. That there is something being said for that people have really keyed in on, and that's causing the price to keep drifting upwards a few pennies. Every week, it seems, it's been drifting up, you know, 8 cents here, 10 cents there. And we know that, you know, Zendikar is rotating out, so it's going to be done. Not like people are going to be cracking boxes every day. People moved on a long time ago. And this is an uncommon as well that is going to see a lot of play. I think we're going to see it become an automatic staple for Commander. I think we're going to find it in homes, possibly even in Modern. So you guys let me know what you think about that card, because that's interesting. Now, you've waited long enough. We're going to number 1. And this was a bit of a surprise to me, but maybe not as much as I would have expected after I saw my emails. And that is going to be Plaza of Heroes Extended Art version, or regular version, whatever you want to call it. There's a few chances you can get it there. Number 1 with 4,920 sales. This thing started out being like $10 Canadian when I first saw it on pre-sale. Jumped right up to 15 on restock. Now I think it's at 20. People are speccing on this card huge, okay? We've talked about it a couple times this week. So I wasn't too surprised to see it being in the top 10. But I was very surprised to see how high this card had risen through the ranks of my hot 10. It's basically doubling over the number 2 card. Like, it's crazy. This card better pay off for people. It better be where everyone wants it to be, because that's insane. But when you realize, again, using a lot of legendary creatures inside decks, this is going to see play in Standard. It's going to fit into Commander decks that are Legends heavy, and it's going to fit into Modern and Pioneer. So I guess it makes sense that you got to get at least 4, but people buying 20, 30, or 40, yeah, they're probably going to profit from this card as long as it sees decent play. I mean, what can you say? Congratulations, guys. Those who got this thing cheap and sent me those pictures, that's crazy. So before I end things off, like, how do you guys feel knowing that Dominaria United basically just dominated the entire Hot 10, and the set's not even out yet? This is before the cards really pop off and we find out how things settle in the next, 4 weeks of the Hot 10 is where I really see things play up. Usually by week 3, we have cards creeping in from things like, Double Masters will creep around again. We're going to have some cards from maybe New Kapena coming back on again. it depends on how many sales go forward, but with this strong of sales, and I'm sure there's players waiting in line to see if some cards fall and some cards go up, sales could be a lot worse over the next couple of weeks with even higher sales than this. I'm not going to count if it goes above 5,000, guys. I'm not going to. It takes too many hours to count all that, to get through all the information, and ask all those questions to all the people I'm dealing with. I'll be honest, if you see 5,000, that means it probably is above that, but I'm not counting above that. That took countless hours last night. Going through all that, I don't want to do it again. Interesting, though. Very interesting. Kind of like that's crazy. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for hanging out with me today. Looking forward to reading those comments in the comments section. Are you surprised by the choices here? Are you surprised to see what people are buying out there? Because these are your hot 10, whether you like it or not. I look forward to seeing you guys later. Have an awesome day today. Don't forget, reserve list hot 10s tomorrow. And if you're buying any of these cards on TCG Player, please don't forget to use my affiliate link. It's found in the description of all my videos. It does help the channel out immensely. Thanks again, guys. Have an awesome day today. Hey, a big shout out to all the fantastic patrons on the channel, guys. Looking forward to seeing you guys on the live stream Sunday night. Thanks a lot for hanging out today. Patrons make the world go round. There's no forgetting that. What are you guys still doing here? It's the end of the video. It's over. The sales have happened. You have to wait till next week to find out what happens next week. It hasn't happened yet. You got to go through the week. You got to go through the pre-release next weekend and see how things shape up. Very interesting stuff, though. Dominaria United really changed a lot of people's opinions when those cards started to drop. So, rocking it on, guys. Have an awesome day. I'll see you guys soon. If you made it this far in the video, let's put Plaza in the comment sections, because obviously that's the card that everyone wants. See you guys soon. That timeless Lotus piece of junk.